Happy morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday morning sessions after a little break of the summer vacation. And in the first session of this term, we are all, because we are educators, most of us, the topic which we have taken today is need for a paradigm shift in education. And to take this, we'll have Jagdisa with us. But before we go into this beautiful topic, let us all sit down in meditation. I'm sure all of you know how to meditate. You all are doing it. But still, if there's anyone who's new here, we are just trying to be in the here and now, okay? So that we can be aware of, be more conscious, right? So generally, we are drifting in either into the past or the future. We rarely stay in the moment. So now for that, I want you all to settle down, switch your mics off, please. Just be a little conscious. Switch off your mics so that there is no disturbance for the other participants. And before we actually go into meditation, which is Anapanasati, which we practice, that is simply observing our breath. We're going to have a very brief meditation today because I want Sir to take maximum of the time. So it's just going to be about 20 minutes. So please settle down and we are just going to observe our breath. Before we go into Anapanasati, also, we need to activate our vagus nerve, right? How do we do that? Well, I'll just tell you for 4-5 rounds, we are going to take a deep breath into our belly. For the count of 4, I will count it for you. And then hold it for 2 seconds. And then we'll have a long breath out for the count of 6. We will do this for 4-5 times. So let's begin. Settle down in a comfortable position and a long breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 2 seconds and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just do this for a few more rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. In, hold. 1, 2, and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Please continue this for 3-4 times before we come back to our normal natural breathing. I will be sharing some music. Your eyes gently closed. In fact, let your lids fall down close, okay? I'm just sharing some music. Once you have finished about 4 rounds, bring your awareness back to your normal breathing. Your normal, natural breathing. Bring your awareness to the tip of your nostrils, or even between your eyebrows if you want. This meditation will lead you into a sanctuary of stillness and self-awareness. You'll find grounding in your breath, clarity in your heart, and alignment with your deeper purpose of life. It will also help you to settle into your true self, nourish your inner landscape, and help you to carry calm, centered energy into your day ahead. You will find a soothing anchor in the breath to ease you into the present moment. You will experience gentle body awareness to release tension, and you will invite spaciousness, heart-centered intention, planting peace, harmony, laughter, and unconditional love. You will go into self-inquiry, explore your identity, desires, purpose, and gratitude. Resolution of your story, your name, your designations into pure awareness. So commit to yourself, my dear friends. Ensure your spine is gently upright, not rigid, but energized. Place your hands lightly in your laps, fingers on the fingers, or even open towards the ceiling will do. Allow your eyes to close. And now, your full awareness on your breath. Inhale the stillness. And exhale all that which you don't need anymore. You are safe. Let this breath flow naturally. And let the simple observation become your anchor. The gentle rise of your chest or belly. The subtle pause between the breaths. Your soft exhales, observing the breath anchors you in this moment, firmly grounding you in the inner field of awareness. Maintain this natural, gentle breathing. It will remind you, I'm here. Allow each exhale to release tension, friction, or worry. If your mind drifts away, bring your awareness back to the breath. And now, let us transit to a soft scan of your body. Just imagine a beautiful golden light entering from your crown chakra, the top of your head. Notice the warmth, the coolness, lightness, heaviness, any tension. As we scan down from the top of our head to our toes, be aware of any area that draws your attention. If there is any slight disturbance in any part, linger there a little longer. Let the light descend down, flow over your eyebrows, your eyes, your face, your ears. Flow down your throat, over your shoulders, your forelimbs, your back, imagine these sensations as little islands floating in the ocean. The ocean is a pure consciousness. The islands appear briefly and then dissolve. All that remains is the ocean. Let this light flow down your spine, your abdomen, and enter into your hip area. Down your thighs, into your knees, down your legs, going over your ankles into your feet. Feel all the stress oozing out from your toes. And now, as your body is relaxed, bring your awareness to your beautiful heart center. This isn't just your physical heart, but your emotional and spiritual heart. The space where intention lives. Mentally, begin to seed this place with 4 powerful words: peace, harmony, laughter, and love. Repeat these words as a mantra: peace, harmony, laughter, and love. These 4 words slowly and silently resonate in your chest. With each inhale, imagine drawing these intentions inwards. And with each exhale, imagine them expanding outwards, beyond your skin, into the space around you. Peace, not just the absence of conflict, but a deep, still sense of inner tranquility. Feel it, filling your heart like a warm light. What does peace feel like in your body? Can you rest in it? Harmony, sense of righteousness, and alignment with yourself, with others, with the world. It's not about perfection, but resonance. Let the word harmony float through your awareness like music, soft, balanced, flowing, laughter, the sparkle of the soul's lightness. Let your heart remember a moment that made you truly laugh. Feel that memory. Return not as a thought, but as an energy. Invite that lightness back into your heart, into your being. Feel it. Love, deep, unshakable. That unshakable connection, not just romantic love, but universal love, compassion, kindness. Picture someone or something you deeply care for. Could be your child, your partner, your pet. Let that caring fill your chest, and now let it overflow, radiating outward, unconditional. Repeat the sequence again. Peace, harmony, laughter, and love. There is no rush. These are not just words, they are energetic codes you are programming into your heart field. Seeds that will grow quietly throughout your day now. Let each word settle deeper and feel the resonance. Imagine each intention like a soft light glowing inside your beautiful heart. Small lights that pulse and grow with each breath, weaving a sacred pattern within your heart. You're not forcing anything. You are not doing meditation. You're allowing it. These intentions are not goals. They just remind us who we really are underneath the layers of our ego, our identity. Feel it. Keep returning your whisper to the four words. Let them guide you home. Peace, harmony, laughter, and love. And now, let us just express our gratitude. Gratitude for being able to sit with ourselves today and feel who we really are. The gentle rhythm of your heart will continue to support you. Your heart opens. As we continue with our journey inward through the practice of self-inquiry, gentle yet powerful, exploring the truth. As you begin to ask a simple, profound question, who am I? Don't try to answer this logically. This isn't about your labels or roles. Let the question settle like a pebble dropped into a still pond and watch the ripples it creates in your awareness. As we come back into the here and now, the last 15 seconds of your meditation, start feeling the room you're sitting in, the roof, the floor, as we express our gratitude to all the gurus in our life, whether it is our experiences, our mistakes, our parents, our colleagues, even our students, and all those who are there to guide us in moments when we are weak and lost. And now, very, very slowly, we can rub our palms, place them on a beautiful line. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You may open your eyes, caress your face, and come back to the here and now. So I hope you all enjoyed the meditation and are now all ready, because we are now in the here and now, this particular moment, not drifting into any problems of yesterday. Yesterday is gone, leave it. Future, we still don't know. So it's just the now that we are aware of. So today's topic is a paradigm shift in education, the need. So what does a paradigm shift really mean? It refers to a fundamental change in the way we understand and approach teaching and learning. It is moving away from the traditional teacher-centered models which we were used to more student-centric, dynamic, and technology-enhanced approach, right? Okay, this shift actually emphasizes personalized learning for students, which is going to be effective, relevant, and more, useful for them. And for that, who else but Jagdish sir is there to help us take us into this beautiful understanding. Well, you all know about Jagdish sir. He's been with me almost every single week, though he's a retired professor of the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. With his schooling and education, he's an electronic engineer, and he's himself is a MBA graduate from IIM Hyderabad. Right, sir? Am I correct?
It's Ahmedabad, not Hyderabad.
I'm so sorry. Ahmedabad. Okay. So his subjects were physics and maths and electronic engineering, followed by MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. So he's been a research scholar as a beneficiary of the Ford Foundation and the UNDP, but his passion for education has always been there. Though he has worked in both public and private organizations, but he has a lot of experience as a management consultant, mostly in the field of information systems. But I think his passion is more of teaching young minds, and he still takes, uh, I think, guest lectures in IIM Bangalore, right, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just bring you on board. Just give me 1 second. Yes. What have I done? Okay. Um, just a minute, sir. Jagdish sir, welcome. Welcome, sir. So I I have most of my teachers here. I'm so grateful that they have joined early in the morning. And I also have Ravindra sir. He's a principal of another school. And Chandra Mudali sir is there.
Yes,
Hi,
I see
sir.
him there. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. So nice to have you also. Yes, sir. Good morning. So it's going to be a real fruitful session, I believe. So education, as we all teachers, we are seeing there is a paradigm shift already, which is on paper, all right. Yes, who's this?
Okay.
Could you please switch your
कशाचं
mics off, kar dijiye,
हे
please?
गीत कस करा
I wish everybody was a little more
त्याला ते घालू
conscious.
नका
Hello,
ते
अपना
घाला
mic
बाजूचं
off
हे
kariye,
ते
please.
काय
I
ते
really can't trace, sir. Let me switch off a mic myself. Wait. So I think what we really need is a climate change in school, as Ken Robinson says, that he gives an example of the Death Valley of South America, where he says this place is called Death Valley because nothing grows there. But once in 2004, there was a lot of rain and a lot of flowers sprouted in the following spring. So actually, that valley was not dead, it was only the climate was not conducive. So our little children are also our little seeds in our school. So I think we don't really need major shifts. We just need to change the climate of our school so that the seeds get the proper environment they really need to sprout. So I'm going to hand over the stage to Jagdish sir now uh, to hear his wisdom on this beautiful topic. Yes, sir. Over to you now.
Thank you. Greetings to all of you. It's nice to come back our weekly thing after a
Yeah.
long time break.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's like coming back to our family.
That-
Morning, Chandra Mudali sir. It's always nice to have you there. So, you see, my house is a corner house which abuts the main road. It's a main road which links a very long two different areas. So every morning around this time, I see school buses coming here, right at in front of my house, and fascinated to see parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters bring their household kids and put them on the bus, wave them goodbye. This happens every day around this time, a little earlier, 7ish. Now, as they wave the goodbye and they saw these kids are gone. Whenever I see this in fascinations, I'm reminded of a good old poem by Green Whittier called The Barefoot Boy. There, the barefoot boy is a metaphor for a child who's barefoot, who has free, who's not conformed by the norms of society. This boy keeps running around wherever he feels like, learns from the bees, learns from the plants, flowers, smells the mud, and gets fascinated of his own breath. and so on and so forth. It's a very longish poem. But Whittier ends this poem like this. And all too soon, these feet must hide in the prison cells of pride. Lose the freedom of the sod, that means the soil over there, like a colt's for work be shod. A colt is a horse which is used for farming. So, like a colt for work be shod. Made to tread the mill of toil, up and down in ceaseless moil. I hope you understood what it means. So once they go in there, you are now put into this straight jacket, taken out, working morning, you forget the freedom of the soil, you lose that, you are tied up like a workhorse, starting from the school, your homeworks, you're mugging your tables, etc., and goes on throughout your life till the day you die. You are straitjacketed. That so-called freedom, that so-called potential, everything is kind of molded in a way that some outsiders like you and I, like teachers and designers of education system, they kind of fix this for you. And what you do, you end up becoming a zombie. Right next to me, the terrace, there's a French window I have. I used to see a mother cat who had littered a few weeks old, probably. A kitten is to brought over here on the terrace so she can be safe from the other cats and so on and so forth. She would bring her, every morning, a pigeon, a mouse, or whatever, or to my terrace, mess up the terrace, and teach the little kitten not only eat it, but climb down. There are certain plants over there. Use the plants to climb down to the terrace to see the world outside, come back whenever it wants to do, and just romp around and play. It used to, when I used to walk, it used to come and play with me, so on and so forth. What the cat was training it was for to bring out life, because one fine day the cat found her another boyfriend and abandoned this kitten. But what the kitten had learned is to how to deal with its life, which is what, in all good intentions, we try to do with our education system. We supposed to train these young minds so that can deal with life. But is that what we really do? Unfortunately, no. Like I said, we straitjacket them with kind of information or syllabi that is determined by us, often outdated, mostly irrelevant information. And which, of course, supposed to prepare them for failure. I'll talk about it a little later, which is important. And what happens in this process is, quite often irrelevant information is thrust into their head, into their so-called neocortex. It stays there for some time, sinks into their system, and they completely get designed, like I said, like zombie. Actually, this reminds me of Erich Fromm, who in an Essays of Sane Society said, freedom not from want, but from the trials and tribulations of the so-called market forces. What are market forces? Something demanded by the outside world in its interest and not so much in yours. So what happens is, students are being developed, crammed information, made into zombies, so they can serve the so-called market and not necessarily themselves. Unlike the cat which raised the kitten to create its own life, here we are breaking that, we are losing that. See, the problem here is when you become a zombie, you first of all stop thinking for yourself. You start losing your own potential. You don't even realize that you have a potential of your own. You are limited your abilities by creating the personalities determined by your school education system and often cloned by the teachers, because teachers would like to clone themselves and so on. I am not totally against this creating these children, to be ready for the life in this way. But the premise here is that leading a life or learning to live a life means only to be a careerist, to do a job, to cater to what the market needs, sacrificing your own life. In fact, I think it is Nathaniel Branden again, Nathaniel Branden, not Eric Fromm, Nathaniel Branden, who coined a very interesting expression: particular efficacy and general efficacy. Particular efficacy is where you become a specialist, very efficient in a particular area. Like this is what you do in school. Now, if the school children go to college, like I did, I become an electronics engineer. I become very good in probably scientific technology and later on in computers. That's it. Only particular. I might not have any idea about how to raise my family, how to love my people, how can I understand them, how to create relationship. Nothing of that sort. I'm good in electronics, period. Everything of my life is thoroughly destructive because I have no knowledge of this. On the contrary, you have what is called as general efficacy. General efficacy is what, though it enables you to be particular, efficient in a particular field, you also have a very coherent image of the world. You know what it is all about, what the world is all about, and where your place is, what your place is in that world. And you understand because of your own creative potential, you know how to handle that. That is what education is supposed to do. Will Durant, a philosopher who was a historian, philosophical historian, in an introduction to his book called The Story of Philosophy, very, very famous book, and it popularized Western philosophy several years ago. In his introduction, he says something which I'd like to quote. Philosophy, instead, philosophy means the love of knowledge. So what I'm talking about, coherent image of the world, is to know, create knowledge, which education is not creating that knowledge. It's only creating. So philosophy is the love of knowledge. So he says, philosophy itself, which summoned all sciences to its aid in making a coherent image of the world and an alluring picture of the good, what is good for the world. Then you won't have all these problems we have in this world today. An alluring picture of the good found its task too stupendous for its courage, ran away from the battlefronts of truth, hid itself in narrow and recondite lanes. Recondite means secret lanes. Recondite lanes, safe and timidly secure from the issues and responsibilities of life. Human knowledge had become grave for the human mind. So this idea about philosophy, which had used the sciences that we are talking about as syllabi to create this coherent image of food, found it too stupendous task because we are limited by ourselves. So that's what has happened in education. We have found this task of building this truth so stupendous that it's hid itself in narrow, recondite lanes, safe and secure from the responsibilities of truth and life. So education system, the way you have designed, is created a system where it's very safe, which doesn't have to answer how you have to manage the world, how to manage your life, what you do with the climate change, what to do with all this animosity that is going on in the world, how do you love people. That is the truth. But our education system has completely forgotten how to deal with this. That is where the problem lies. I still do have the opportunity of being on certain boards of studies of some schools, mostly management schools, where you need to look at regularly what we are teaching, how we are teaching, what the curricula is. And though I am really often regarded and they are very friendly to me, I get always outvoted when I question some of the topics that are covered in the. For example, today everyone wants to cover artificial intelligence in the very first year in the school. AI is good. In fact, there is a different thing about AI. I'll tell you later on, if time permits, which is necessary today and may be required as part of your education because that is going to take over us. But what is very impressive, so-called data analytics become very popular. See, data analytics is nothing but looking at data and see how it can. You look at it and see what patterns are there that are needed. This involves a lot of statistics and so on. So there are people who like to pursue that particular area and then help companies develop their strategies based on what the data tells us. In fact, Tim Harford, one of the behavioral scientists, behavioral economists, written a beautiful book called Making Numbers Add Up, where he makes fun of the way data analytics statistics is used without understanding the definitions of the meanings we use, the kind of samples that we use, the biases that we have, and of course, the political experiences we have in analyzing data. For instance, even many years ago, we didn't use the word data analytics. We used data mining also. We used to talk about, for example, companies found through data analytics that men on weekends when they go and buy a bottle of beer are also asked their wives to bring the child's Pampers, so on and so forth. These people found, therefore, those who sell babies items like Pampers, they decided to keep also a case of beer bottles next to it. They call 6-packs. So it became very easy. So the husbands would go to those shops where you buy the Pampers and immediately carry your 6-pack and go. I'm not joking. It's the truth thing. Similar things. Now, what you notice here is, what did this data do? Help marketing strategy. Today, data analysts consultants have paid crores to do stupid things like this. Whether when you are doing a credit card, whether you will be a defaulter or not. What kind of marketing positioning, what kind of people buy what kind of things. That you see, particularly Google, now AI is also taken over that, you see all that. It'll direct you what you are interested in. Things or force you to get interested in that.
Hello.
Yes. So if you see, ultimately, data analytics that we talk so much about is basically for marketing, for sales things, though a little bit of it used for other purposes. And here, these people all this management school started looking at data analytics as a fundamental requirement in the very first year. I can't question this because this is what people think is required. The market force is required, and I get outvoted. There are similar subjects I can talk about. When I question them, you won't believe it. I got into several years ago, called into one of the university, Madurai Kamaraj University, one of the schools, to talk about software project management to the first year students. Why will they not software project in the first year students? And of course, the topics are also are must up. When I talked to the principal, he said, yes, this is what the university wants. Let us change it subsequently. But at least why don't you come and teach this at no? This is the kind of ridiculous system that we have called the education system. It's not that people have not realized it. So often what do? They try to reform it. And in the name of reform, all that they do is tweak the syllabus. And tweaking is also more in the form of administration convenience rather than education. They have not understood education very well. That coherent image of the world that you need is not taught. For example, liberal education, literature and other things, economics, which also helps you kind of along the. Now, if you are a technical person, a doctor or an engineer, you don't need this at all. So mind is called, there's no development on the mind per se. So-called liberal education, which develops your mind also, is completely forgotten. Nothing about spirituality at all. Your own consciousness, who we are in the world. Aren't these things necessary? That's completely forgotten. Nobody talks about it. So when you change this curriculum, that's why I said it needs a totally new paradigm. The framework, the existing paradigm itself is different. It needs to be scrapped, sorry. And I'll later on at the end briefly talk about, do I have a model for it? I do. I'll come back to it later. So given this kind of a situation, what happens to the students? And of course, the students who grow up into youth. They may be particularly efficient, but as I told you, in general, if a man being able to manage their own lives, their own family, they have become stressful because they become slaves to their bosses. They become slaves to the bankers from whom they borrowed loans for their houses and cars and whatnot. They become slaves to the schooling system because they have to admit their children to the best of schools, that hunt for it, they pay to pay for it. So their mind is completely occupied by this, nothing for their lives. So they are totally confused. They have no idea. It is deep inside. They may not even express it explicitly, but this is deep inside, and that just bothers them. Those who have realized sometimes often go into seek help. There are gurus. I don't want to talk about them. They also look for self-help books. Now, I've seen many of the self-help books. Some definitely are good, which are based more on philosophy and spiritual science. Many of these self-help books are not only bad, but they often mislead you, creating a greater confusion. In fact, there was a program for postgraduate programs in IIM Bangalore. There was a very special program where it was actually sponsored by the government of India, and I was asked to be part of it and take sessions on and so forth. My main, there are about 70 students. My main topic was to talk about information systems. That is my particular ethics, you would call it. But the last 6 sessions of my course, I told them I'm not going to talk about systems. I'm going to talk about something else. I said I'm going to focus on whether you are prepared for your life. You're talking about systems, so on and so forth, and you have to go and work. And what I did was, I took up inspirational books. Like last time I talked to Jonathan Livingston, I'll talk about it a little later. Power of the Subconscious Mind, Power of Now, Sartre's Being and Nothingness, J. Krishnamurti's Freedom from Fear. Some of these books I took them up, brought in topics or ideas from that book, made them discuss. You won't believe it. by the time the second and third session during tea breaks, some of these students, they're all postgraduate people who had work experience. By the way, these are the people who had work experience. They came to me with tears in their eyes. And they said, in all our education, sir, we never realized this is what we need to know. Postgraduate education. So you imagine what will happen. This is what is missing, and this is what has to be included in our curriculum. There's a lot that is there outside the world. That knowledge, so-called knowledge, is never covered. Actually, the system, I said, creates zombies, does much more than that. Even as students, whether you're in school or college, or even later on, even as a worker, it creates a kind of a demand on them, which makes them very stressful. You see, psychologists will accept stress is the difference between expectation and actual. So you expect it to be some, in a way, because society expects you to be, and you want to be that way. You know, actually that is not happening, and that creates a lot of stress. Okay, now I've seen students, their eyes are glazed, zombie, and I'm not talking about students only post-graduate 20-year students. I've seen audiences 40 years. I've seen bureaucrats whom I have taught. Right? They all have this glazed eyes. So the worst thing for a student of the students are, there are 3 points. One is grade, peer pressure, and then acceptance. I always keep saying this over and over it to everyone. See, I told you we have an individual ability. There's a divinity in us. That is forgotten. I'll talk about bring about a little later. But the point here, therefore, when you talk about grades, what is happening here? All that is determined your evaluation, whether you're prepared for life, so-called. You determine whether you're prepared for life. How? Based on what kind of grade you get. You're given tests, you're given examinations, and so on and so forth. And there is always this pressure for getting the right grade. Actually, what happens is, when I used to, in my classes, we have a continuous evaluation. We give a lot of small quizzes, mainly to show whether they're followed by class or not. I used to give this the all 10-minute quizzes, and I never evaluated them. I'll put the answers on the board and ask the students to exchange their papers, each other, and then evaluate themselves. It didn't really matter to me what grade they got. I took whatever grade they gave, and I knew I will add this. It constituted hardly 5 to 10% of the overall evaluation system. But one of my foreign exchange students, a German girl, who was very actually they're very particular about systems and theory. She got angrily walked into my room. By the way, our system is anybody can walk into a room and discuss things, and accuse me of being irresponsible. She said, do you know when you ask the students themselves to grade them, they choose their friends, it will be a friend, and deliberately, even if the answer is wrong, they correct the answer and give the better grade. They correct it. Are you aware of this? I said, look, I'm sure as a teacher over 30 years, I'm aware of these things. But does it really matter? It's a kind of pricks their own conscience, if you want. If they don't, it really doesn't matter. How does this grade matter in their life? She didn't accept that. She thought I was irresponsible, so on and so forth. But that is my attitude towards grade. And I am, for example, I'll quote another anecdote which makes you how grade works and how stressful it makes children. We have where you have to have a minimum grade called CGPA. Every term, the total CGPA is 4.0. Okay. Every term, a student has to get at least 2. And overall, in the first year, they have to get a 2.5. Otherwise, they can't move on to the, 2.2. And in the overall thing, you'll have to get at least a 2.5. Otherwise, there's no question of re-examination and so on, say, except but exceptional circumstances, you have to leave the system. So there is always, in the particularly when students come from, except for IITs and all that, from normal university, come to an IM system, they get scared. They're very stressful. So we had this idea of voluntary mentors. Most of the faculty was volunteer. We're assigned some students to you, who you mentor, who you observe, what their performance. The first, excuse me, anybody's talking to me?
Somebody's mic is on. I
Okay.
request all to just keep your mics on mute. I've done it. Until.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
sir.
yeah, that's perfect. So, I was saying there is this need to, so we have these mentors, and usually we look at, monitor and help the students. If they are, particularly in the first term, I told you, it's very stressful for them. They make it very difficult to make that 2.0 average grade. There's one of these boys from the north who's an engineer. Obviously, he must have been bright, otherwise wouldn't have been able to join IIM Bangalore. And I found that he was falling short of a 2 point in the very first term. Like you are nominated, I called him also to the office and asked him. I don't remember his name. Okay, let's use. I think it was Prashant or something, if I'm not mistaken. Let me use the word Prashant. So I just asked Prashant, what is happening with your grade? He got worried. He thought I was accusing him. He thought I was blaming him for not studying properly. And he said, no, sir, got scared. I'm studying hard, sir. I do 12 hours of study in the night. I sleep very little. Honestly believe, sir, I'm studying hard, but somehow I'm not getting good grades. I said, Prasad, I never tried to question you why you're studying or not. I just wanted to find out why you're getting low grade. When other engineers of equal brilliance are getting to manage better. Yes, sir. There are my classmates who play quite a lot. They don't do that, and still they're getting better grades than me. What is wrong with me? Do I need psychiatric? This is what he asked. I said, so Prashant, see, you have been a good student. You have been an engineer. So something is wrong. Tell me, when you are not studying, how do you work? What do your mind work? What does it think? Couldn't answer. Okay, tell me, you go back to your engineering days where you did very well. What were you doing between studies? He says, sir, I am a tabla student. I play, I used to play tabla in between. That's my only other hobby. Prashant, do you have your tabla here? I asked. No, sir. IIM. I need all the time for studies. How can I spend time in tabla and badminton and all that? This was just before the September holidays. September is the puja holiday. They get more time, 15 days. I said, are you going home? He was somewhere in UP. Are you going home this holiday? He said, yes. I want you to bring your tabla, Prashant. Come here, forget your assignment. I want you to play your tabla for at least 1 hour every day. Fortunately, he trusted me. He came back, brought his tabla. The very next term, his CGP jumped up to 2.5. What do you say to that? Because the system, the grading system, education system has crammed their brains. So they forget their potential. They forget what they need to. They forget what makes them easy. See, this is what is called block-mindedness. You need to release that block-mindedness. Only when you do there's a clarity of thinking, it comes out, and you know what you should do and what you do, block-mindedness goes off. In fact, another couple of behavioral scientists from US, they use the word scarcity. What happens is when you are scarce of time, of money, of whatever, education, when you feel that scarcity, there's a tunneling effect because your mind starts focusing only on that what is scarce. And because of the tunneling effect, they have done research and say both the executive mindset as well as the cognitive mindset are completely suppressed. It's changed. So you cannot neither your cognitive ability and your executive ability is lost because of that tunneling effect. This is what happens to these people. He found scarcity in his grade, and most of them do. And because of that, their natural ability to think, the natural ability to execute is also diminished. These are the things that we have to look at in an education. We should understand why, what requires, why I should understand why students have this kind of problem. So this is the stress issue we need to address. So the second issue is peer pressure. What is peer pressure? Each one of us have his own creative ability, creative potential, and we should need to pursue that to develop our own ability. But what we do is, sorry, we are driven by what others are doing, and we have to do that. We have to follow one. For example, in A&M, everybody wants to get a marketing job. So though you might not be interested in it, you may be interested in computers, but oh look, that is what is happening. Today it's finance. Everyone wants to go to become a financial investor banker. You look at any IIM today. Whatever the background, they want to study finance, whether they're good at it or not. So this kind of peer pressure pulls them everywhere, not only in education, but even in real life. We are pushed by peer pressure. Why does peer pressure happen? J. Krishnamurti, when our own Indian existentialist, he said, our insecurity comes from the need to make a choice. At every point, we had to make a choice. And that scare is there that we have to make a choice. That creates an insecurity in us. Brandon, coming back to Brandon, he also made a similar thing about choice, and he said, while nature has made us to make choice, she has hidden from us the knowledge of how to make the choice, correct choice. Now, without knowing that, what we do is, because I am an MBA, because I'm an educator, I should be able to make the correct choice. Not realizing nature has not given me that ability. It's a natural process. If you see, if you make a choice, you bet on a horse. When do you get to know when your bet is right or wrong? Only after the choice is made, only after the race is finished, right? Similarly, whenever we make a choice based on whatever information we have. The result of the choice is known only after make the choice. And like nature has not given us, quite often we make the wrong choice, not because we are not intelligent, not because we are not qualified, but because that is the nature. It is hidden. We make a choice based on what we think is right. Now, if we accept that having made a wrong choice has no reflection on your intelligence, then we realize, we accept that we have made a wrong choice, and then we know how to make the correct choice. We don't change the choice because we think we have made the right choice. Something has gone wrong with the environment. Others are to be blamed for having gone wrong. The moment you realize and accept there's nothing wrong in making a wrong choice, and then once you accept that it is you have made that wrong choice, you are prepared to change it. You have to look at other avenues, you look at other information, seek other information, and make the right choice. That is the second. The third, of course, among many others, I found among students problems, acceptance by others. I've already talked about peer pressure, but acceptance is something else. See, all need, even today, you and I need acceptance. Because we are not, no man is an island. Though you are an individual, you know, as a meditator, you are part of the greater environment, your greater society, and you need to be part of that. And in fact, in strict quantum physics principle, it says the observer and the observer part of network. You are there because I observe you. I am there because you observe me, and you are part of the nodes of a larger network. Now, so what happens here is we need that desperate acceptance, and we're uncomfortable that we are not, whenever we feel we are not accepted. You have heard about this in other courses, books about it, what we do for acceptance and so forth. And this again creates a lot of discomfort. But if you have, you see, the cause of limit and all that is there. If you know you have limited yourself by the personality that you have created, honestly, your name, your qualification, your house, so on and so forth, but that is not you are. You are much more than you are. You are not the I decided by your five senses. You are the I beyond that. When you realize that, when education makes you realize that, I call it self-empowerment. When you make the realize, you said acceptance comes automatically when you start accepting people. I don't remember who said this, and he said it's a very good aphorism to see. I accept people, people accept me. My relationship is based on trust and respect, period. If that feeling is there, you won't feel the discomfort of not being accepted. If somebody has, you feel as not accepted, it's their business. As long as you accept it, right? So these three things, there are much more, but I don't like to go into this because I think it's become too, but I will be only dumping too much information in your heads. Ultimately, there's divinity in us. My again favorite poem, another on a little bit stanza, is to see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a flower, to hold infinity in the palm of your hands and eternity in an hour. This is the divinity that child is born with. This is the divinity that should retain in all of us. That divinity is there, but we lose it because of all the other demands that we see, the so-called market forces, etc. If education can bring in that divinity in us, if you can say that now, all of us know this is what meditation makes it possible. Meditation makes you, because it clarifies your mind, so your coherence improves, your ability to think improves. Number one, it makes you realize that you're much more than this I. It gives you that feeling of divinity. And those who go deep meditations, they get mysticism, where they know who they are, etc., etc., etc. This meditation itself is a very powerful. We can and we should, in a sense, include it in addition to other philosophical issues that I was talking about, coherence, etc. Is one of the things. Make the students. You remember Jonathan Livingston Seagull? Those who don't know, he was a bird who wanted to, beyond seagull, he wanted to fly higher, go beyond. He wanted to discover his potential, but it was denied because his environment, his people, and his parents, and so on and so forth. But still, he did it. But when he tried to do it, he failed badly. He fell very badly, crashed into the sea, broke his wings, and all that. And that time, he decided, "Oh my God, I should not try to look at my potential. I give up. I'll stop thinking." But then, when he stops thinking and he starts flying back in the night, back to his home, he realizes seagulls are not to fly in the night. Seagulls are not all supposed to fly so high. If you had to fly, I would have had, whatever the pilots have, those charts in my head. And if I had to fly like high like the swallow, like he wanted to do, then I should have narrow wings of a swallow. There it comes. In that darkness, when he stops thinking, in that silence of the mind, he becomes creative. He realizes, hey, no, what do swallows have? Short wings. Can I not fold my wings short enough so that I can fly like a swallow? And then he succeeds. See what that quietness, quietude helps him. Quietening the mind, not thinking unnecessarily, and letting thoughts come automatically from a creative process. That gives you the power, that gives the empowerment, that gives you the total potential to exercise your own potential. To conclude, I'll just give you a brief model about how, therefore, we can change with this paradigm, a new paradigm. I don't want to talk very elaborately about it. This is based on systems theory. Systems theory is about all aspects. It's got philosophy, starts philosophy. It has got coordinative, that philosophy is a conceptual aspect. You have the coordinative ability because you do the design aspect, which is where I'm talking about. And finally, you have the analytical ability. So it's got all three frameworks in systems theory. So when I use that, in fact, I use very often in all my consultative process, I use systems theory. I'm very fond of it. So what here is first we have to look at the purpose in systems. The main thing is purpose, because all systems are designed around a purpose. Even this non-living system like the mobile phone is designed with a purpose. All its components put together and made to interact in such a way that it provides you that purpose of communication. Similarly, human beings are also systems. They're living systems. There's a purpose we have all learned. So all your systems and all components, etc., are put together and designed, put together so as to achieve that particular purpose. Similarly, education has to be a living system. You have to understand what the purpose is and put all the components and put together so that you reach that particular purpose. That is building like the cat, decide to making you able to lead a life that you want. Now, like I said, the human body is a living system, but just think about it. What the living body, first of all, needs to live, right? So in order to do that, there are tasks like breathing. There are tasks like protein, passing through protein, the blood. There are tasks like pumping the blood, so on and so forth. I'm taking the blood all over. So on and so forth. I don't know in detail. So these tasks become the purpose of subsystems. So that is why you have the elementary system. The Annamaya Kosha is the elementary system. The the respiratory system. There is the circulatory system. All these systems act in coordination. There is no hierarchy among them. They act in synchronicity through communication, exchange of information, matter, and energy. Can we design an education system like that? Yes, we can. First of all, in order to create that coherent image of the world, to enable you to use your potential to lead your life, we should decide what are the tasks to be performed. We need a set of experts, not bureaucrats. Sit there, think, apply the mind, and say, what? This can go on changing over time. This is dynamic, it's not single, okay? Having decided what tasks are to perform, create systems that achieve these tasks. Systems mean what people, what information, what matter is required. How should they be put together? How should they be organized so that they can dynamically achieve their purpose? Create all these various systems based on tasks. Link them, decide how they should be linked so that they communicate with each other. So each one operates according to their need, their potential. And overall, you have the nervous system, the control system, which monitors the entire thing to see all the systems coordinate. When there were any little change, immediately go ahead and modify the system, correct its system, steer. This is what is called purpose. Steer the ship towards where it has to go. I can talk to you about 1 hour only about systems theory on this aspect, but I don't intend to. If you can understand why education is a new paradigm, and I've given a very brief model of how it is possible, provided you are prepared to put your effort into that. How many of us in this world are prepared to put this kind of effort instead of getting dragged by whatever is available, your curriculum is available, what are the market forces, without thinking. Thank you very much. I hope you followed me. Questions I don't mind answering. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was so thought-provoking and makes us actually introspect, you know. I also always say for us, the system, we keep waiting for someone to create the system and give it to us, you know.
Mhm.
It is not made in a boardroom, you know, like where the children are not there. We are teachers, we are dealing with children. So I tell my teachers that you are the system in your class. So create it for your 40 children at least, whatever you want to
Correct.
do. So we keep waiting for the system. See, there are little, but what we can do, we have to do rather than just complaining. So I think if we just go with this, that we are the system in our own classroom at least. So if everyone is doing that, the climate will slightly change. So yes, I invite anyone to ask any question you want to ask, sir. We have two great minds with us. Even Chandra Madali sir is there. He's also,
Yes. Listen to his
yeah,
comments. Yes.
yeah, I'll just add him too. So please take advantage of this, I would say, moment and ask if there is anything still in your head. Because I keep yapping in school, all right, but you think that even I talk out of my mind most of the time. So we are sending children for certain inter-school events nowadays.
Wow.
This moment, this period, generally we have inter-school events, then zonals, and then CBSE events and all. So generally, children used to be reluctant, especially the senior ones. You know, studies will be missed. So when you talked about that tabla experience, I was just thinking about that. Children who really participate, children are really enjoying now. Earlier, you know, we as teachers, we were under the pressure of board class that not to send children for any such things because they will waste so much of time in practice and missing classes. But ironically, children who are participating are so much full of energy now. And I am sure they're going to do better in their studies than what they were doing earlier because they have so much to learn when they go out. You know, that experiential learning happens, teamwork, and then going out in new environments, dealing with new people. So I think it's a positive. So thank you for seconding me because otherwise people would think that I just keep doing silly experiments like that. Yeah, anyone, any of my
See,
colleagues,
actually,
friends.
that way I was very, very lucky. I had a father who was like that, who let
Okay.
me go and do anything, like all the trips, school trips with the children or with Cub Scouts or on my own. I wanted to understand village life. He sent me to a place to through somebody at a village where I spent 3 days, sorry, one full week doing ragi harvesting. I learned how to harvest ragi.
Oh,
A
wonderful.
totally urbanized person,
Yeah.
Bombay, Calcutta, Bangalore type of a person. This is the kind of father I had, and I think I was very lucky. He
Yes, sir.
did everything in it, and that's where I think luck also helps a lot. I
Yes.
learned a lot like this.
So I will be circulating this to parents also because sometimes, you know, parents also
Yes,
they hinder the growth of a child. Now, while going
correct.
for trips, as you said, they are so protective. No, the conditions, yeah, वो attack हो गया, ये हो गया, बच्चों को नहीं भेजना. They're
Huh?
not sending them anywhere. And if they send them with the mobile phone so that they're connected. That umbilical cord is connected 24 by 7. You know, they're not letting the child experience anything. So, yeah, I think these things really do matter. I remember my school days. I was a part of the LTS, Leadership Training Service in school, where they used to send us for social work to villages, as you said,
Mm.
and we had to spend a couple of nights also there in the homes of people staying there. But no arrangements were there for us. We were divided to two girls into different houses like that. And I remember seeing the village life right from my early school days like that. And abhi to parents are so much worried about the security of the child. Yes, I agree. Things
Yes, that's
have
right.
changed. Things have changed, but still, we have to let our children explore also. That's how, as the kitten you said, that's how they're going to learn how to
Correct.
survive. Yes, Chandra sir, anything from you, any input from you? Your mic is off. Sir, your mic is off. Yeah.
Mic is not off. I'm probably.
Acha, there is something wrong with your.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, now
Yeah, it's
yes, now
better,
yes,
better,
now yes, yes.
better.
I was probably sitting too far. Okay. Now, if I may, can I share a screen?
Sure, sir.
Yes, please.
I'll make you the co-host. Just hold on.
I've sent you a request. Even if the
Yeah,
request
I've
is
allowed
not
her.
good enough. Yeah. So, no, I don't know which one it is sharing. One sec. Let me- Okay. So I was intently listening to what Jagdish sir was saying. And I was trying to pull out what can I talk about if I was asked to comment. I was feeling that I was a consultant. Usually a consultant, what does he do? He listens to you, tells you back what you told him. Active voice to passive.
Correct.
But in reality, there is something in between which gets added to that. So I was just trying to ask, and I remember about 20 years ago, I was reading an article in one of the flights. It said, in Dubai, in the education system, there is one question that is asked very, very regularly. And what is that question? The question is 30 years hence. That is just the question. And this is not for the teachers, mind you. This question, they invite students in groups and say, let us discuss 30 years hence. And the summary of that article fits beautifully into the way Jagdish sir articulated this entire, I don't want to call it a lecture, this entire talk. And I was also parallelly reminded of a great editor of The Hindu. This was during emergencies. His name was, I think, G.K. Reddy. Excellent, this one. So he says, he writes about emergency. He says, emergency is like a university where all teachers are very busy teaching. However, I noticed that the English teacher, with his absolute disregard to numbers and logic, is teaching mathematics. And the mathematics professor, with his absolute disregard to language, is teaching literature and English. We seem to be caught in that kind of a paradigm today. That is the dichotomy. So let us try to break this 30 years hence, the way as sir was talking, how my mind was running. If I take 30 years hence, right, let us look at the core areas of focus in yesterday's upbringing. Probably me and Jagdish sir, we belong to that generation, that time frame, right? Or maybe I may be a little bit later, but then there was not too much of
Much later, not little bit. They are very much younger than.
right. So core areas of focus yesteryears in the upbringing of integrated values and focus areas around the value of relationship, because the way they were growing up was joint families.
Correct.
Right? There was no fear there because there was togetherness. Then there was the importance of learning materialistic survival. At the same time, the value system had components of spirituality, spiritual thinking in the environment. So effectively, we can call that purpose versus togetherness versus the challenges today of satellite family nurturing. Okay, so that was yesterday versus the challenges of today. Where is the current? The current lies or is captured into the sources of conditioning that a child goes through, that a young mind goes through, that a middle tier mind goes through, that a senior mind goes through. Right? There are perceptions. Everyone is right where he is. But you change that where he is to reality, these perceptions become the blockages. Right? There is a lot of fixing yourself on the outcome even before you start on the initiative. That itself restricts your getting into preparedness. But in reality, all this is supposed to take you to your future. And what is that future? There are communities, there are changing communities, evolving communities, there is evolving lifestyle. There are the roles that the parents have to play, the people have to play, the society has to play. The environments need to nurture what is 30 years from today going to look like, right? What are the scenarios? Can you predict? So, are you preparing the people for that tomorrow, or are you preparing them for perceptions, fixing how their life is to be tomorrow? Versus, were not people of yesteryears successful and more successful than those of today? These are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. And to that extent, what Jagdish sir really conveyed cannot be summarized better than this is in my takeaway. So, I mean, there are so many, each of these translates to questions that a teacher can ask, that a student can ask himself, but we are afraid. Fear. That is one thing that is acting as a restraint. Whether we fear or we don't fear, whether we do something about it or we don't, eventually, this is the reality that the minds that we are preparing for tomorrow will have to fight for themselves. This is my take out of this lecture.
Thank you.
Wow, sir, that was so wonderfully explained and displayed. You know, you are always ready with your, diagrams. So well explained. Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to share this picture as it is.
Yes, please. You can just share it.
No, I will convert it to an image and send it right away.
You send it to me and I can share it on my
That's
group.
exactly what I will do.
Jagdish, there's a question in the chat by Ravindra sir. He's also a principal at a school in Punjab. I'll just read it out. Fruitful session, Jagdish sir. And thank you, Bhatia ma'am, for organizing the session. But my
Madam.
question is this. Yes, sir, you're there. You can ask
Yes,
Ravindra.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm from UP.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you can ask your question directly.
No, not a question, just that's my opinion regarding the Indian education system, right? So I feel that the education system is totally depend on the theoretical process. What had I felt? So there is just something lacking
that's
in
where
the
we're talking
system, the
about,
practical.
yes. That is what our real aim is here, na, to change it into more practical. Hanji sir, please continue. Hanji.
यह है कि जो हमारा जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है कि जो थियोरेटिकल पार्ट है, राइट, दैट इज द मिसिंग इन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम और ऑन द स्कूल लेवल आल्सो.
प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट.
हाँ, या so यही है.
No, my comment on that is this. I'm not totally against theory. Theory is what? Definition of theory is systematic organization of experiences into predictable form. That is true theory. Now, practice again, if it becomes practice like what the market wants, practice that is wrong. What I like, for instance, in some Western schools that I've seen, unfortunately, that is changing very badly. Today is we were like that perhaps probably. Thanks to Macaulay and thing, we became like this. Macaulay's system was so bad. I studied in a very strictly British school in Calcutta. You know what they used to do? We had individual desks, desk and stools, things like that. And even at moments of silence, supposing if I moved my stool like this to comfort, I'll be punished. That's how stiff we should sit. And there's a punishment called the brush. Luckily, which people used to say, a brush is from the back of the bend. You have to make a bend from the back behind of a brush. You know, the hairbrush or the coat brush. You'll be whacked. That's the system. I started a school in a Marathi school in Bombay behind Shivaji Park. That school is now very big. It's called Bala Vidya Mandir. It's a very big school now. Those days it was one small house. Look at the difference. There, also individual desks sitting on the mat. As soon as we made to class and say, sing Shantakaram Bhujaga Shayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram. Near almost 80 years, I still been reciting that every day. That's how it is. That's the difference. But all that has changed, like you said. So both practice when you do is necessary, but I told you what to do in Western schools now is a child is given a topic and they have to discover and write about the topic. So they go to library, they talk to people, so on and so forth. Unlike here, you are given a topic, you read a notes that the teacher has given you and write it down. Anna, you have to only repeat whatever teacher has told you in the notes. They're made to expand their mind. They go to libraries, they talk to people, find out and bring up an essay. They're given a week to do that. In fact, even thanks to some of my professors in Ahmedabad, even in IIM, I used to give them problems which are called take-home exams. I never bothered about giving exams in the class like that. So they will have to find out, given a tough problem, which they have to search around and come back. And this is to be like.
So we can experiment this on our own also, we don't have to be an IB model or a Cambridge model. We can just pick up what we want. Like
exactly.
We've also started research-based projects in our school, right from the primary classes till 12th.
Good.
So they are given topics of their choice. Children have been asked to give topics. I said, ask the children to tell what they want to do research on. So they can be things which we are not even aware of, but children want to find out more about those topics. So they come up with the topics, they go for the research in groups. So we are trying certain experiments like that.
I think please do that. You got yeah. See, another thing I can tell you, which I'm very, very proud, very boastful, in fact, is some of our students are very senior now, who even retired or become MDs, etc. Though I used to teach IAS, when it comes to executive programs, for some reason, because of my background, etc., I was made to teach them communication, so on and so forth. So once the director came and said, why don't you talk about presentations to the regular MBA students, one full year, second year students? So I didn't know how to model that. So I did simply this thing, 33 hours, 2 terms, so 66 hours in total. I asked them what you said. Please pick up any topic, any book you like, whether it's music, whether it's religion, okay, whether it's society, whether it's economics, history, whatever you like. Only thing is, before they present, 2 days before, they show me, make sure that there's nothing bad about it, insultive or they have to show my presentation, that's all. Before. And then 2 presentations every class, that is half an hour each will be 1 hour 10 minutes used to be class, and they discuss. And then went off very well. People used to bring all that joke also in the class when they bring some topic, will pull up and they laugh. Religion was brought in a non, derogatory manner, so on and so forth. Several years later, I happened to go to there is an antique shop. There's a lady's heritage thing, and she says brings from all the villages. It's somewhere nearby. I was invited for something else. I go there. This lady is running, and who do I find? Her husband happened to be one of my students of that batch.
Okay.
He was actually finance, and he has given up now. He's helping his wife run this. And first thing he saw me, Professor Jagdish, it's so great. You remember my entire batch keeps talking about that system of communication, oral communication you talked about. How many years ago?
Yes, sir.
And they say his batch, whenever they talk about that.
Yes, sir.
That is the beauty of making
Right,
people
sir.
learn on their own.
Yes, sir.
And this is what makes people like us, so grateful to what has
We
happened.
actually ignore the potential of the child. Now we think we just have to give them information. We are just loading
Exactly.
them with our information.
Exactly.
And they are much more, I mean, of course, they can be more creative than what we are also, And so I just ask the children, just don't be in their way. A hindrance mat bano for children, let them do what they want to do at least.
Correct.
So if we are not adding, at least don't stop them from doing what they want to do. Yes, Chandra sir, your hand is raised. What would you like to say?
It's because Jagdish sir was talking, I was reminded of the education system my children underwent when we were in UK.
Your volume is little low.
UK. No, it's come clearer. Yes.
Yeah.
So, when we were in UK, there was homework given to a student of 4th class with instructions not to the student but to the parents. Please do exactly what your child asks.
Yeah.
And provide one. And the instruction to the students, one, if you do this homework in less than 6 months, we will take it that you have not put any effort.
Okay.
Second, all the concepts that you are learning in all the subjects needs to be utilized by identified examples in this homework. It is not mathematics, it is not
multidisciplinary, everything together. Yeah.
And last but not the least, design a game using all those concepts.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. We can add that.
If I play it once, right, I don't have to revisit that topic. Now, what more education can a teacher give student? And interestingly, a similar one was adopted even for a 3rd-year child. Now, look at how they nurture the child. Concepts, they are teaching in the class. Homework, the student is made to search around. And what were most of the children asking? Give us a computer, give us with network facility and internet.
Yes.
Okay. And how is the homework progress monitored? Wonderful, I would say. The student every week, 1 hour, he has to talk about his project and where he has progressed, how he went about doing what he has done, and the entire marking was done on the basis of what was presented in that 1 hour during the course of the week.
Wow.
And type of questions. Now, can there be a better education system? I would ask.
Yeah.
And it is not the students who are learning end of the day. Parents were learning.
Yes.
Teachers were learning.
Teachers are also learning. Yeah.
Right. That is what I would call a paradigm shift in education.
Yes. This is a very interesting, all minds sit together. There's so many new, we are also trying all this, but thank you, sir, for encouraging me so that we continue doing what we are doing. And I have a wonderful team of teachers who are very, very creative and who trust me in, whatever we plan, and they are taking it forward. And yes, we are seeing a change in the children. We are all very excited, experimenting new things. So since this NEP, we have started creating our own system in the classroom, in the school, taking best of everywhere. जैसे पति साहब बोलते हैं ना, be like a bee, take from everywhere and make it also. That's what we are doing in education also. Like Japan, they make the children do every little task in the school. Uh, so we are also trying to make little Gurukul kind of thing where children are
Maybe
doing
the teachers
individually.
as a community
Yes.
start discussing
And this,
what is 30 years from today.
yeah, you're right, sir. So I'm going to circulate this to my parents too, so that as a team, they're all I mean, they are also, what do you say? Yes, sir, Ravinder, sir.
Actually, madam, my concern is the same. Chandra sir explained in the detail. I was talking about the same thing. So
तो
Chandra
सर
sir
सिस्टम तो
explained
हमको
in
ही बनाना है
details.
ना, हम ही को
बिल्कुल
ही
बिल्कुल
करना है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
अगर हमें मिल
बिल्कुल
भी
बिल्कुल
गया है सिलेबस
हाँ
और
हाँ
whatever, तो उसको हाउ टू इम्प्लीमेंट तो हमारे हाथ में है ना. That nobody is
एग्जैक्टली
forcing us कि ऐसे ही करना है. So we have to come up with our own
हम्म
creative ideas. And
बिल्कुल
पूरी
बिल्कुल
कहीं से भी हम अच्छा, फिनलैंड का एजुकेशन सिस्टम ले लो, चाइनीज ले लो, दे हैव मेड चिल्ड्रन, आई मीन, कितना अच्छा लाइफ स्किल्स सिखाते हैं उनको. So we have to include all that in our this thing. पर
No,
हम ना खुद एक्सक्यूज ढूंढते रहते हैं, अरे हमें अलाउड नहीं है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Nobody is stopping us from our job. We keep waiting that someone else will tell us what to do and then we will do. So we are waiting for that कि implement नहीं हुआ. क्या implement नहीं हुआ? Implement it yourself, जो करना है. So I think as a, जैसे आप भी sir, you are heading the school, I mean, teachers को थोड़ा freedom रहे to implement it their way. Everyone is creative. सबके अंदर कुछ ना कुछ creativity है. So sir, this can actually,
freedom with limitations.
सर
freedom
वो
with limitations.
एवरीवन इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू नो का, वो हम ना लिमिटेशन को पहले ला के सब कुछ रोक के बैठ जाते हैं कि हम कर ही नहीं सकते, नो वन अलाउज अस. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. यू शो रिजल्ट्स, ऑफ कोर्स. अब बच्चे जा रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स देखेंगे उनके बच्चे पार्ट लेते हैं, दे आर डूइंग वेल इन स्टडीज, व्हाई विल दे स्टॉप देम फ्रॉम गोइंग? So we have to build that confidence in our parents also. So sir, we have
no, I
exceeded the
just
time.
think
It's almost
one more
9:20.
one more
Teachers
point.
have sent in a lot of gratitude notes in the chat. Everyone is expressing
Thank
their,
you.
yeah. So
I
question,
want
so
to
I
add
think,
one more point.
yes, sir.
In the style of learning, curriculum is one part, and teachers are part of the learning ecosystem, not part of the syllabus.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Now, have you ever thought of asking the children, the recipients, how they would want to understand the syllabus?
Yeah.
कभी एक क्वेश्चन पूछ के देखा है? अगर ये क्वेश्चन पूछोगे तो आपका काम बहुत ही आसान हो जाएगा.
Right, sir. हाँ जी, sir.
Because they are far more creative.
Absolutely. I agree there. They should be. That is evolution. They have to be better than us,
This
biologically also.
This happens in IIMs.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Students are asked to, yes, given feedback how this particular course started, how could be taught.
So वो teaching and learning है ना, हम बोलते हैं हम पढ़ा रहे हैं, teach कर रहे हैं. But are the children learning? That is going to assess कि हमने क्या पढ़ाया. If they are not learning anything, then what are we teaching? And it's just one-way process. So we are also trying different methods and.
No, you don't have to justify to others.
Yeah. No.
Justify to yourself.
Yes, sir.
Are we really doing to our potential?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is far more important. Just like the student,
Right, sir.
The 5th year student is asked, you decide how you are going to run your operation. The operation is, I need your homework completed in 6 months. अरे इतना planning था वो बच्चों में. उसके बाद में, when a challenge hit them in real life, it was a cakewalk for them.
Yes, sir.
And my children are standing example of what it did to them, and how it helped them for tomorrow's challenge.
Right, sir.
मतलब एक एग्जांपल अगर लेंगे तो I know I'm stretching your time, but please allow me. We were to move from the UK to India in the month of December. वहां पे दिसंबर में ईयर एंड्स, यहाँ पर मार्च में ईयर एंड्स. My daughter was doing the first year GCSE there when we moved. And when we were to come to India, we realized that GCSE first year is not recognized in India.
Oh.
So she had to give the 10th exam. And I was worried. They have not touched the Indian syllabus nor the languages for 5 years, because that was the gap we were in the UK. And then I asked my daughter, how are we going to handle this challenge? Her answer shocked me. She said, Dad, do you remember that homework we did in the UK? See, when I came for vacation, I went to the school just to find out what are these people learning. And I found the 10th exam. When I was talking to my uncle, her uncle was a teacher. How are these papers set? No, last 10 years papers we analyze and to pick up the important ones and create another set.
Yeah.
So that is 60% of the question paper. This is her answer, what I'm telling you. So for me, 60% is 100%. And what do I need? I don't need to top. I need to pass. And you won't believe it. She secured 58% and came out in flying colors.
So this is an open secret, na? For the board students, they pick up the books are printed, 10-year paper, 20-year paper. They just cram those papers, they get 10%.
You see,
Because
creativity from the teacher is lost to that extent. That is the point.
yeah, that's sad. Yeah.
And students have become that creative that they are able to project how
they know how. So the teachers are so worried na by the end of the year. Padni ra, I said, don't worry. In 2 months, they are going to pick up these papers. Don't worry about the marks they'll get in the board exam. That they will manage.
Correct.
But what have they really learned in all these years? That is more important. तो एग्जाम की चिंता नहीं करो, वो तो वो पास हो ही जाएंगे.
अब मेरे को ये भी याद है कि जब हमें छुट्टियां मिलती थी, पर्टिकुलरली समर वेकेशन, राइट, एक तरह का होमवर्क दिया जाता. आप नेक्स्ट क्लास के मैथ्स, इंग्लिश और हिस्ट्री के किताब लीजिए और जितना हो सके इंग्लिश और हिस्ट्री को कंबाइन करके आप एसेस लिखिए. दिन में 1 घंटा से ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है आपका टाइम. और मैथ्स में जो भी टॉपिक्स आपको पसंद आए, हर टॉपिक में 10-10 सम्स बोलो या 10 प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करो. ठीक है, बस इतना ये था हमारा होमवर्क, समर वेकेशन होमवर्क. Right? So there are so many creative approaches, which you can do what my daughter did. Yesterday was the teaching.
Yes.
आज कैसे है, दोनों का कंबाइन करके हम कैसे निकालें?
बिल्कुल.
एक खेल, because today's children love challenges.
Yes, absolutely.
तो वो अपॉर्चुनिटी को आप कैसे इंटीग्रेट कर सकते?
राइट सर.
सोचिए आपके पास कितने रास्ते हैं.
यस सर. सर जितने टीचर्स हैं उतने सिस्टम है. आई वुड से वो अपना सिस्टम खुद क्रिएट करें.
वो परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन पढ़ते हैं ना, जितने उतना ज्यादा परम्यूटेशन
उससे भी ज्यादा है. राइट सर. Thank you so much, sir. Both of you, I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart. It has been really, really wonderful and enriching. And my teachers are really going to carry home a lot of messages from both of you and your life experiences. Thank you so much, sir, for being there. There are no questions in the chat because they're all spellbound as it is. So I will carry on this in my school, a meeting with them and see if they have any questions. Thank you so much, sir, for being there. Thank you, Jagdish, sir. This was
Thank you.
really worth waiting for. It was scheduled before the vacation. Then you were a little unwell. Then I went to Bangalore. So things were happening, but it was actually worth waiting for. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Chandra, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Ravinder, sir. Thank you for being there.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
everybody.
Thank you, Jagdish
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank-
Thank you, Chandra sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
all.
Namaskar.